Golden hour is my favorite time of day. It's an automatic Valencia filter, and I usually take my daily walks during golden hour, no matter what time of year it is. But today, we're gonna talk about a place where it's automatic golden hour all times of the day. It's my favorite place on earth. It is my hometown where my family's from. But I thought I'd do this vlog in drag, so let's do this. Half a day. Half a day, my ninjas. Guess what? It's Friday, which means it's time for another vlog. And today, we are going to talk about one of my favorite places on this planet. It's where I'm from, where my family's from. It's where America's Day begins. Little tiny island called Guam. Guam is basically a tiny island. It's about 36 miles long and 8 miles wide. It's pretty small. You can get around the island in about 2 hours. Now, when I say it's where America's Day begins, it's literally where America's Day begins. It's before the international date line. Basically, it's the first place where the sun touches American soil. Population of the island is around 160 plus thousand, I think now. It's the main hub of the little tinier islands like Palau and Ponape and Yap and Saipan. The very tip of the island on the bottom, it's the Marianas Trench. Challenger Deep. It's the deepest part of the ocean, I think. Yeah, I think that's where it's at. There are tons of tourist attractions on the island. There's lots of old Spanish forts. There is a lot of old Japanese and like kind of camps. There's a lot of caves. But the main draw is really the beaches because it's beautiful, white, sandy, powdery beaches. It's stunning. Something you really have to see. I like to compare it to Hawaii. Before Hawaii became super commercial. It's cosmopolitan. It's 3 hours away from Manila by plane, 4 hours away from Tokyo, 5 hours away from Seoul, 6 hours away from Shanghai. So it makes it kind of an international tourist hub. A lot of tourists like to go there and go shopping because it's duty free. Means there's no taxes. If you ask random people about Guam, the first thing they'll tell you is it has a lot of snakes. Snake. Which is pretty much true. There are a lot of snakes, but I only encountered 2 in my entire time that I was, growing up there. And one was actually crawling up to my window until my grandpa shot it and it died. And the second thing is that North Korea was gonna bomb Guam like a couple of years ago in 2017. Ugh. Guam is basically an unincorporated territory of the United States. We hold a U.S. citizenship if you were born there. Basically, you have the same rights, except you don't get to vote for a president, and the congressperson you send to Washington, D.C. does not get a vote in any of the policy making in federal government. In 1521, some fool named Magellan sailed all the way around the world, past the Atlantic, all the way down to Argentina and the Cape of Good whatever, and made his way to the Pacific Ocean. In fact, he named the Pacific Ocean because it was calm. He landed his ass on Guam and told everybody he discovered it. But clearly he didn't realize that there had been people there, natives, who were living there for the last 4,000 years. Now, Magellan's trifling ass invited the natives to come to his ship, then blamed them all for stealing whatever the hell he thought they were stealing, and then called the island Islas de los Ladrones, Isle of Thieves, basically, which is kind of fucked up. It really is. His karma got him later when he was killed in the Philippines. Like 3 months later, he sailed to the Philippines and a chieftain killed him. That started a 3-century Spanish rule on Guam. And basically it was an important stop on the galleon trade from Spain to Mexico. Mexico to Guam was a stopover, and then Guam to the Philippines, where trade between Asia and the Pacific. Guam was a middle ground, and also they put a lot of like prisoners on Guam because it was so remote. Now, in 1898, the Treaty of Paris basically granted Guam, Puerto Rico, American Samoa, and some other islands. I think I could be wrong about the American Samoa part, but a lot of other territories were ceded to the United States. And the United States really hasn't left since, except for the years during World War II when the Japanese took over and massacred a lot of people. Most of the land on Guam, well, I would say 25% of the land on Guam, is run and operated by the military. I think all four branches are there. Air Force up north, the Navy and the Marines towards the middle and the southern area, and the armies peppered throughout the island, which was really amazing. I had a lot of fun with those people in Guam because back then the drinking age was 18, and so we all had fake IDs and could go out to the bars when we were like 15 or 16 years old. And trust me, I had a huge bar tab growing like as a teenager, like living there. Also, lots of this happening by the beach, honey. Now, a native of Guam is a Chamorro. Chamorros are the indigenous people who have been there for like 4,000 plus years. There are people who are born there but are not Chamorro. Like me, I'm Filipino, so I'm considered Guamanian. Now, I mean, there's a lot of intermingling, there's a lot of like cross marriages between the races, and it just makes for a more beautiful island. Some Chamorro words that I'd like to teach you is half a day. That's like our hello. So, half a day. It's HAFAADAI, but it's literally just half a day. Half a day. It's a good way to say hello. 97% of the island is Catholic, and by Catholic, I mean extremely devout Catholic. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they're like hardcore about their Catholic. Which brings me to my next topic. There's so much good food on the island because it's the cross pollination of the different cultures. There's 19 villages peppered throughout the entire island. That is including the military bases, and there's a church in each village, like a main Catholic church, and there's fiestas, and rosaries, and novenas, and a lot of other church-related stuff. So you're never gonna go hungry because they always feed you. Now, with the cross-pollination of cultures, you get like the best of Asian cuisine, Spanish influenced, and Spanish and Mexican influenced type food. Like my favorite is kelaguen. It's basically chopped up like shrimp or chicken mixed with coconut and lemon and peppers. It's really good. It's really yummy. Traditional Filipino adobo, lumpia pancit. There's titizas is like a flour bread. There's lots of really good food. You'll really get fat. And of course, there's spam. I mean, the Americans brought spam in, and we love it there. I still eat spam. I eat spam and rice all the time, girl. I've asked several of my friends to describe what it was like growing up on the beautiful island. What a better way to get to know it than from people who actually lived and grew up there. So let's hear from them.
Hello, I'm Dennis Caasi, also known as Property, that's my artist name. I was born and raised in Guam, but I'm currently living in Mexico City, Mexico with my husband. Guam is my home. It's where I was born, it's where I was raised, it's where I learned to be the person who I am today. It's made me a strong bitch, a bad bitch, you know, growing up in Guam and growing up in the southern village of Agate. I love it so much. When I think of Guam, it brings me so much joy to think about my family and my very beautiful and amazing upbringing in my little village, and just enjoying life by the beach and just being a bad island boy. Obviously, I'm queer. I grew and thanks, you know, Guam is very Catholic and has a lot of macho culture thanks to the Spanish. So as growing up a queer person in Guam, I was subjected to a lot of oppression and suppression and whatever. To really be a masculine boy and man and heterosexual, I was never that. I was always very queer and feminine, very different. So my family sought to change that. I would often go on masculine tours, be denied anything of femininity, and it really hurt and destroyed me and made me hide a lot of who I am and caused a lot of trauma in my life. But healing, therapy, all that stuff. I had actually moved away from Guam when I was 12 and moved back when I was 17 or was I 19? 19 actually. I moved back for a few years and I was out and I was proud and knew more of the world, and it was a beautiful experience being out there and meeting other queer people and just learning about just the beauty of queer culture in Guam and everything. And my family, it turned out to be really amazing because at the end of the day, Guam people are family oriented and will do anything for their family.
Afere Mani, what is Guam to me? I think about the question, the first thing that comes to mind is Guam is home. Guam is the people. Guam is hospitality. For me, Guam is about family and those lifelong friendships that we've made over the years and who've become second family to us. Also, Guam is being proud of my heritage and my roots. It's a big part of who I am today, and it lives within me. And everything I do, it's just part of who I am and how I interact with people. Those life lessons learned on Guam, those family values, and just something that's kind of in you and something that you'll know if you're from somewhere like Guam or other islands in the area or the Philippines. So yeah, that's what Guam means to me. What it was like growing up on Guam, it was like one of the best times of my life. Like all I can remember is just the joy, the fun, just the carefree mentality, just people, just your neighbors being your best friends, having childhood friendships that have lasted over 30 years. It just reminds me of a good time, a happy time, a place where you could be who you are. The friendships you've made, the family, the beaches, the get-togethers, the food that brings all of us together, the fiestas. There's so many things about growing up that was just a great time. What it was like growing up gay on Guam, a lot of it was unspoken. I think the words that we've used, the derogatory words, were kind of used a lot when I was growing up. So it kind of was used in a way jokingly, but also in a way where it was derogatory. So hearing terms like that just kind of pushed you and kept you in the closet, at least for me. And, it was hard because the religion on Guam was, it's a heavily populated island where everyone was Catholic, majority, 98%. So being gay at the time was not really a thing. It's more like you felt it inside yourself, or you knew you liked boys or someone of the same sex, but it was not really expressed or shared. So it was kind of, my whole high school life was closeted. Today, that's different, for sure. Like many places around the world, it's changed over time. It's more accepting. And I think people realize, we're just like everyone else. And, it's that Guam mentality too. It's like, as it became accepted, it's just wasn't a thing. It's like, oh, you're like my friend, you're my family. It doesn't matter. But it was hard. You weren't able to express yourself truly. So that was kind of the downside of being gay at such a young age and at a time where it wasn't acceptable, or there weren't that many people that were out or to look up to, and to have that kind of pride in coming out and being proud of who you are. So that was a little tough, but times change, people change, and people on Guam have really shifted their views and their mentality on what it is to be gay.
Guam is family, it's friends, it's community, it's mango season, it's growing up with your cousins and the ranch on Sunday, it's typhoons, and it's really special. Being raised on Guam or living on Guam is something truly special. And I think one of the best parts is that No matter where you go in the world, you take Guam with you.
Honestly, for me, growing up there, it was amazing. Lots of beaches. It's a very slow paced kind of life. It's an island life, but everybody thinks it's just Quonset huts and like stuck in like 1930 whatever, but it's really beautiful. The beautiful thing about living and growing up on Guam is, other than the beaches and the duty-free shopping, is the people. Some of the people that you saw earlier have been friends of mine for a long, long time. It's a very homey community, and it's something that I really miss. That concludes my vlog today. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, hit that bell, and get notifications. I'm really trying to make it to 1,000, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely weekend. Half a day. Bye.